Hello and welcome to Knife Delights. Tom here coming to you from the observation deck on just a wonderfully beautiful fall day. Isn't it gorgeous, folks? Got some nice sunshine, mild temperatures, just a slight breeze. It just, life just doesn't get any better than this. A few years ago, my aunt handed me a knife, and it happened to be my grandpa's Case Stockman. And I just remember how thrilled I was to be able to get this knife, something that my grandpa owned and used. He was a farmer, so who knows what all kinds of chores he used to use this knife for. So again, I was just really thrilled to get this knife. A couple of days ago, a supporter of mine reached out to me on Instagram. Seems like he came into possession of a Schrade Old Timer, and it happened to be his grandfather's. And his grandfather has passed on, and he was inquiring as to whether or not I could fix this knife up for him. And I said, send me a picture, let's look at it. I couldn't do any, mechanical type of repairs to it, because Schrades are difficult to repair, and we can go into that later in the video. But I said, yeah, I'd truly be honored to be able to restore this knife for you. So I'm warning you, this might be a little longer video than what I normally do on my restorations. Some weeks I do 2 or 3 knives a week, and I don't have the time to show you every step of the way and go into great detail. I try to show enough to help you learn, and I know a lot of people have appreciated that. But this one, I'm going to spend more time showing it on video, because I think this young man would sure appreciate to see the evolution or the progress as I go along with this knife. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it truly is an honor, and I'm excited for him. I'm excited to see how this knife is going to turn out. It's going to be a couple days before I get it in the mail yet, but once I get it, I'm going to start on it immediately, and I'll try to show every step of the way and all the products that I'm using as I go along, and this way he can see his grandpa's knife come back to life. Oh, and he did say he's got childhood memories attached to this knife, because him and his grandfather used to clean trout with this knife. So what a special knife, what a special deal. I can't wait to get back to the Knife Delights recording studio and get started on the knife. Well, here we are back in the Knife Delights International Recording Studio, and the knife has arrived. And look at it, folks. It's in pretty rough condition, isn't it? But we're going to see what we can do to get this thing cleaned up. So as I go along, I'll try to share with you some of the materials I'm using. One of the first things I like to do is just clean that tang stamp off. So something that I've owned for many years now is the Dremel 3000. And the attachment here is just a wire wheel, and I ordered a whole bunch off of Amazon at the store. Got that style, and got this style here, but really all I've ever used is this one here. You got to remember that if you're going to use a wire wheel, you risk the chance of scratching something. So I don't ever use a wire wheel on the blades themselves, because it will scratch, but I've never had a problem on the tangs with using the wire wheel as far as scratching. So let's try to get this tang readable. That's a good place to start. Schrade USA, and I can't quite read it yet. Is that 34 OT? Always wear eyeglasses when using these, because a little wire can spin off of it. But it looks like to me, Schrade USA 34 OT. So, again, as part of your walk and talk, you want to make sure your tangs are cleaned off good. So we're just going to do an initial little cleaning here. I plan on taking my time on this. If we have to repeat steps, we're going to, but we're just going to take our time. My initial goal is to just get some of this heavy duty stuff off of here before we throw it in the rust remover. There's another spot you can use the wire wheel on. Sometimes the wire wheel will fit right down in here, depending on the size of the knife. Just anything you can do to initially knock off some of that rust. As you can see, we don't have very much walk and talk here at all. It's pretty stiff. Okay, I think I hit all those areas. One other area, I've used it and it's never been a problem as far as scratching, is here on the back springs. I just go very gently. I'm just going to try to knock off some of that heavy duty stuff. You want to be careful not to hit these covers. And as you're doing this, you can kind of check out kind of the overall condition of the knife too. Alright, we got that done. And before we throw it into anything, in order to help keep like my rust remover clean, or if I was just going to throw it in mineral oil first, you want to make sure you can clean out anything out of here that you can. And as you can see, we got a lot of rust down in there. So I have some 600 grit sandpaper. And we're just going to hit that down in there a little bit. Now, those are brass liners. You can see they're rusted over. We'll see if we can't get them shined up just a little bit. So let's just start with this. And we're not going to get it all, not in the first pass. But the more of it you can get removed this way, and more of it you can get loosened up, why, the less work the rust remover has to do. And I don't like soaking things any more than what I absolutely have to in a rust remover. So, let me just see here what we can get. Okay. Sometimes I will just take a little screwdriver. And this is a little screwdriver I bought in a set at a hardware store, lumberyard called Menards. They're here in the Midwest. You can pick up these little sets. It's like $2 or something for a set of 4 or 5 different sizes. They come in real handy. You can just lightly scrape down in there. You can see you're moving just little bits of rust down in there. Again, just trying to get it loosened up here. If you leave a little bit of a scratch, down inside, it's okay. Nobody's going to look down inside, I don't think. It's up to you. If you don't want to do this step, you're worried about scratches or anything, and you just want to use sandpaper, there's nothing wrong with that either. So there's no secret to what I do. These are just some of the methods that I've come up with over the years. I've had a lot of viewers send me in tips on how to do things, but it's just been kind of a trial by error. And if you're familiar with the channel, you know I've used lots of different methods. We'll touch that up there just real quick. Okay, got that loosened up and cleaned up a little bit. Another area you have to worry about is your back springs. And you close the blade about halfway, you can see your spring pops up like that. Again, you can take your little screwdriver, just run along there and see if you can get anything off of there. And got a little bit there. Because we want to get rid of the rust and get these back springs lubed up, and that'll help us with our walk and talk. Just a trick if you're in an antique store buying a knife, and if it doesn't have very good walk and talk, one thing you can do is, pull the blade out halfway, like at a half stop, and see if this spring raises up. If it doesn't raise up, it probably means it's worn, and you'll probably not get any walk and talk back to it. Oh, there. See, you got a whole bunch of rust off of there. See it on my finger? I hope this is coming through. Sometimes I get to work and I forget about having it in the camera view. Okay. There we go. I can see the rust on there. We'll be getting rid of that. I think we'll get some walk and talk. Feels like the springs are strong. Okay. Another thing we can do is I use this rubbing compound. This is number 7 heavy duty rubbing compound, cleans and restores. It's not a polish, but it is a metal cleaner. And there's all kinds of different rubbing compounds, but I've just had the best luck with this. I knew about this when I was growing up, doing some body work on a car, and this always seemed to clean the metal off really, really, really good. So, I don't know. Let's just try this by hand first. See if we can remove some of this tarnish here. No, that's on there pretty tough. Now it's coming off the shield. I don't ever use the Dremel on the shield here, because if you slip off and hit the Delrin, you'll damage it. So we'll start with that. And we can see the pins are kind of rusty. So we'll have to work on those too, won't we? But again, those will have to be done by hand. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and hit these bolsters real quick with some of this cleaning rubbing compound, and just, it's crusted on there pretty heavy, so. Okay, so for the patches, I've got a couple different sizes of patches. And these you can buy at your favorite outdoor store. But they're just cotton packages. I buy them in bulk. And they're, I don't know, about $10 for a whole package of them. I don't remember how many's on here. So there's 650 of these smaller ones. And this, yeah, 650 in each one of them. So if you clean as many knives as I do, you go through them a lot. But that's what I do. For my felt pads, now this is a used one. I've used it before. And when I'm starting out really dirty with a really dirty knife, I just don't see where it helps to, use a brand new pad on it. So I've got this size. Well, let's look at the new ones. Again, I bought these off of Amazon. And we got this size felt. You got these smaller felt. And I usually use these little smaller ones for my finishing, polishing. And then I've got some, and where are they? Here they are. Got some like this. These conical ones. These are good for like detailed work, like on the back springs and such. So you can buy these at Walmart or wherever you can buy rotary tool accessories. The problem is they come in a little package of just 4 or 5 of them, and they cost $3 or $4 for just a few of them. And as many of them as I go through, man, it got awful expensive real quick. So I bought this whole big container of them for like $15 or so. Okay, so we got some of that on there. I've got a use pad, this little use pad here. Let's just go ahead and use it just to initially clean off some of this gunk. I think, putting it in the rust remover will help to break that down just a little bit. It'll take some work on them, get them all shiny again. The nice thing is, just in my initial look at this knife, the knife is fully functional, the blades look good, plenty of blade on them. Mechanically, I don't think anything's wrong. Aesthetically, there's nothing wrong with it, other than it just needs a good cleaning. So, I think this knife is going to come out wonderful. Okay. Another thing, I touched up these back springs real quick with the wire wheel. Another thing you can do is take some sandpaper and without hitting the covers, you can sand them just a little bit. But we're going to have to soak these first, but I'm just to show you. You can see here on the brass liner, you can see the rust on there. So that's hard to get removed using a rotary tool because you can hit that cover and damage the cover. These pins, just barely touch them and scrape on them just a little bit. Look at that. See the difference there? You don't want to do it too much, you don't want to scratch them, but look at that. See the difference there? Just doing something as simple as that. No pressure on it at all. Just kind of breaking it up here a little bit. And just to show you, since I have the rubbing compound out, sometimes I'll use a Q-tip. And just dip your Q-tip in here, and you can hit them with a Q-tip. Sometimes that works too. That one looks wonderful already, a lot better. Something like that. And then even on the shield, sometimes I'll use a Q-tip on the shield too. This has got saw cut Delrin, so you can see we got some dirty stuff down inside the saw cut Delrin, but we'll be able to clean that out of there. And when we're all said and done, after some soaking in mineral oil and stuff, we'll probably get these covers to look a lot more vibrant again too. So this is where we're gonna, oh no, let's hit these blades real quick. There was a lot of rust on these blades. So I am going to switch to the bigger wheel, and I'll explain why. On the blades, I really like to use a bigger wheel because you always got this little thing pointed out here. and you don't want your Dremel to hit any part of the knife, this, as you can see, it gives you good clearance there to help you keep you from hitting the bolster or anything else like that. So that's why I use the larger wheel on that. Let's just do a real quick pass on these blades. These blades will heat up real quick. You don't want to overdo it. And this is the part where you might have to just do it over and over and over several times, just taking it down a little at a time. Use a rubbing compound and soak it a little more. Back to the rubbing compound. One other thing, you can see the top here. It's awful hard to do that with the felt pad because it'll kind of just tear them up. So again, you can just take your sandpaper, sand on there. Okay, that's a good start. That's a good start. Now we're 18 minutes into this video already. I warned you this might be a long video, but I'm trying to really give you a good idea of every step I take here. And I want to do a super good job on this knife. Like I said in the intro, I know what it's like to get a hold of one of Grandpa's knives. Okay. Alrighty. And we got one more blade to go here. You see that rust I'm getting wiped off of there? What did I do with my... Oh, it's right in front of me. I hate it when things hide right in front of me where I can't find them. Has that ever happened to you? And there you have it. Here's our initial pass. I'll throw it in some rust remover. Let me grab the jug here real quick. I have actually used a couple different kinds of rust remover. This is made by CRC. It's called Evapor Rust, and it comes in a gallon jug. And I find it at like farm and home stores and things like that. And I have also used a product by WD-40. It's a name everyone's familiar with. Rust remover soak. And I don't know. I've kind of had the same results out of both of them. Alright, so I'll probably throw this in the rust remover for about 2 hours and just see what happens. Okay, we've been in the rust remover for about an hour and a half, and you can see how dirty that is down in there. Now this rust remover, it was not a totally clean batch when I started. But what I want to do here is pull this out so you can see it. This is something I normally do over at my sink. But I always throw it in some fresh water and just rinse it out. I think what I'm going to do is dump this and get some fresh stuff in there. So look at that. See all the stuff that's coming out of there. You can see it darkens the blades, gives a false patina. See, we've got stuff there in the nail nick we need to work on. That nail nick also. But we're getting there, aren't we? See? That dirty old rusty water coming out of there. Okay. And let's wipe it off the best we can. Get rid of as much moisture as we can. You can see the stuff coming off. So again, I don't want to leave it in for too long at one time. Is this stuff scraping off? Yeah, see, now this stuff is loosened up. It's starting to scrape off. Move that out of the way. Let's just close this up real quick so we can see it a little better. Better close that one too. That one will still cut. No blood. Don't want any blood here. Well, that stuff is stubborn though, isn't it? Try this one here. That's on there thick and hard. Alrighty. Let's do this. All that stuff from rubbing off of there. Okay, let's start with a new pad. Just going to start with a brand new pad here, I think. That one's pretty worn. Pretty worn and dirty. Move this out of the way. And get back into frame here a little better. Again, use our rubbing compound, see what we can take off this time. See there? He's starting to come around. Slowly but surely. Hey, don't call me Shirley. Okay, move on to the next one here. Yeah, bolster's coming along. Okay, now we gotta get the spade blade, get it done. I just thought of something. This is going to be an extremely long video. At certain places I might put it on like 1.5 speed or 2 speed, just so we can save a little bit of time. Now this is where the conical one will come in handy along here. It's a little bit more precise. Okay, just a little at a time here. Okay, let's look down inside her. See what we got down inside. You can see those side walls, still a lot of rust on there. I think what I'm going to do is, one thing I like to do is I can take one of these small patches, put a little bit of rubbing compound on there, and then I use one of these emery boards. You can find these in any pharmacy in the health and beauty section, and I need the health and beauty section, believe me. But it's really nice because you got a fine grit and a harder grit on the other side, but it really grabs a hold of these patches and really lets you scrub. See some of that stuff we're getting out of there? And we'll probably have to do this several times over. Probably have to do a little more sanding down in there. But we remove layer by layer. There's some of that rust coming off the top of the brass. And you can see we remove some stuff off the sidewalls there. Okay, let me pause this and I'm going to get some fresh rust remover in the tub so you can see what it looks like fresh. Okay, this is what the clean evapor rust looks like. Kind of a bright yellow in appearance. And we'll throw that back down in there and we'll probably let it soak for, I don't know, another hour or hour and a half. We've kind of completed round one, so we're going to start the second part of the cycle. Alrighty folks, well this video is getting extremely long. I think I'm going to break it down into part 1 and part 2. Hope you don't mind. But this is part 1. This is where we're going to finish up. You can see we're getting those back springs cleaned up. We got that brass starting to really shine. We're making some good progress here. After the last soaking in the rust remover, I threw it in mineral oil for just a little bit. You can see, you can hear, we're getting some of that walk and talk back to it. Back springs are looking a lot better. This knife is really starting to fall into shape. Got a lot of that brass, the tops of those brass liners cleaned off. Down in the channels are looking really good. Look at that. We're making great progress. But in an effort to show Alan just as much of the cleaning process as I possibly can, I'm going to record a lot of it, but it just takes time, and it's going to make these videos extremely long. So, Alan, here we are at the end of part 1. I hope you're satisfied with it so far.